What is up, guys? Evan Aldo here. I'm in the park here in Bangkok, Thailand. Forget the name of this park. It's towards like the west, I think, west of Bangkok. Nice park. It's not one of the biggest ones, but cool place. Really been enjoying Thailand. Spent quite a bit of time here this year so far, especially in Bangkok. And I was thinking about, the way things are going, the markets, all that. We're getting into a really, really amazing time, it looks like, that 4-year cycle time where, it could take 6 months, we're in that window. I think that 6-month window where you're going to see altcoins bottom against Bitcoin. You're going to see a true altcoin season. You're going to see a lot of stuff, start to finally happen. That's what I think is where we are. We're kind of we're towards that area. We're getting to that area, and this is the time. I think this is probably, that 20-year theory too, where things go good for 20 years, then you get a bad decade. You get two good decades like the 80s, the 90s, then you get a bad decade like the year 2000 to the year 2010. Then you get two good decades, the 2010s, the 2020s. So if we're looking at that in terms of a 4-year cycle, maybe there's another peak in 2029, maybe there's another season, but this could be, the last one for, those major gains potentially. This could be the last one there. So, that's what we're looking at. It's an exciting time. And it does, 4 years, we look at a lot of things, especially when you're younger, because the main thing in terms of investing that the average person gets sold on is, put money into the index funds, S&P 500, NASDAQ, all that, wait 20 years, and then you'll have a lot of money, potentially, depending on how much you put in. But it's a good return. 20 years is a while. Even a year to wait. A lot of people, a weird example, but I knew some people were trying to buy the dip on PayPal, for example, and that was, it consolidated a while. Now it's finally breaking upward. It takes time. It kind of takes time. So, it's kind of a patience game, but, it depends how much patience you want to have. It depends on how you want to operate, what you want to bet on. That's the way of life a lot of times. It depends. And, I think at the end of the day, you look at all these things and, the way the technology is now, money is numbers on a screen a lot of times. It's not sometimes you pay for things in cash. There's a lot of places, for example, here that you have to pay in cash, but it's paper and things on numbers on a screen. People say it's energy. A lot of people talk about energy. They talk about those type of things. And, I think that's something to ultimately think about and look at. You got to vibe with what's around you. Be kind of in harmony with it and kind of create your own reality. How do you do that? Well, if things don't go exactly the way you would hope they do, don't get frustrated right away. Give things some time. Things could take time to play out. You got to give things time a little bit. Know that you're going to get what you want. Know those things. The thing too that kind of separates us, and I learned this from Dr. Bruce Lipton, that separates us from every other animal on Earth is none of them know that they're going to die. We're the only advanced organism that knows that our time is limited. We're the only one that really knows that. So ultimately, it can kind of mess with us. That's why a lot of the other organisms, they seem more in harmony a lot of times than humans. There's a lot of chaos. We don't realize, we're kind of oversensitive to a lot of things. Oversensitive, especially from what I learned from Dr. John Sarno. Our brain thinks there's something wrong a lot of times and there isn't. Allergies, back pain, all these type of things, things over time are going to break down, whether we like it or not. We don't have the technology to really, stop that completely yet. There's a lot of things, with stem cells and all that, there's a lot of, good breakthroughs there, I think. But I don't think it's, 100% as of yet, where we could really extend life forever. You might be getting there. I mean, there's different views on that. I think that would change a lot of things. I know Naval Ravikant was talking about that, if you extend a life to like 1,000 years, it may be tough to kind of find things to do because, we're all playing games. You play the growing up game, you play games as you're growing up, you play the games of making money when you're young, you play the games of marriage, having children, those type of games. There's a lot of games that you play throughout your life. And then if we extend life a lot, got to find newer games and different things. So I guess the boredom problem is one of them. I mean, you may even play he mentioned you play the game of, meditation, becoming a monk. You play that game. And that's a game you could play, for decades or, for your whole life or whatever. Spirituality, those things. So, I mean, it's interesting to think about. Jordan Peterson was the one. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people have said this, but I know Jordan Peterson talked about how everything in life is kind of a race. And I think that's very true because, the main thing, and I've talked about it before, nobody's concerned, nobody really cares about the, 60 or 70-year-old with $1 million. They care about the 20-year-old with $1 million. It's all, things are more impressive when they're done younger. It's kind of that race, kind of, to a certain, at least with money. I mean, if you're older, it would be the kind of converse of that is if you're older and you're able to, run a mile in, let's say, 5 minutes or something, or you're in really good shape and you look younger than you are, then it's more impressive. To be looked as more impressive than a younger person doing it. So, I mean, but for the most part, I think things kind of are a race, to get what you want quicker, to focus on the things you want. I think people talk about, the importance of like being obsessed with the things you're into, having that passion, that obsession. That's common stuff that you've probably heard plenty of times. I mean, I think the thing with that is like, if you don't know what your passion is, I heard this from somebody, your passion should be kind of finding your passion, which kind of equates to, okay, how do you do that? Kind of equates to, I mean, the best thing I could tell you is just keep trying different things until something kind of sticks, until something kind of works. Because every very successful person that I've known and like listened to and watched, like they've all tried. They've all said they've tried a lot of things that they failed at, or they changed their mind. They weren't like passionate about those things anymore, so they changed their minds. So there's going to be, I think no matter who you are, there's going to be things that you try, or different way, methods that you try, different paths you go down that don't work as well as you would have hoped. And you realize, like, why did I do this? You know what I mean? I guess it's humbling, you realize you're not perfect 100% of the times. 100% of the time. We all definitely do things that aren't the best ideas, sometimes. And it's kind of just, it's how you bounce back from that, how you, learn from that and move on from that. I think there was that prayer, the serenity prayer in Catholicism when I went to Catholic school I learned about it. It was like, grant me the will to change the things that I can change, and to not waste my time. It's not the exact translation, but not waste my time with the things I can change, and grant me to know the difference, to figure out what I can change and what I can't change, which is very interesting. All the biblical texts, all the religious texts, kind of point to law of attraction, at least in some ways, ask and you will receive, that positive thinking. I think the view too is that you have more power than you really think you have. It seems like you're just one individual on a planet with, billions of people. How much power does an individual really have if you don't already, have a lot of money, a lot of influence, all these things? But, that's that view that a lot of us have, but really you have a little bit more because, people say, really, your odds of even just being alive aren't that high. Just being here right now, listening to me, like that's not that, the odds of that are pretty low. So there's that already. The gratitude for these things, if you could have that, then you could keep building upon that. And I mean, the thing too that, and a lot of philosophical spiritual people that will tell you, and I think it's true at least to a certain extent, is if you don't want something, it kind of feels the same as already having it. And if you really visualize something that you want for a while, and then you finally get it, that feeling when you finally get it is going to be the same as when you didn't have it, but you were kind of pretending to have it. Remember like when you were a kid and you're trying to, you're pretending to like drive a Ferrari or a Lamborghini or whatever, and it's really exciting, or you're like pretending to fly a plane or something like that. Like when you actually do those things later on, if you actually experience them, it could be anything. I don't know if I'm saying the best examples, but it could be anything. It will kind of feel the same. When we're younger, we have kind of that stronger imagination that kind of gets, taken away, intentionally from us. But, you look at more of the media, all these type of things that kind of avoid you from focusing on the things you really wanted to kind of focus on. I think there's, it goes both ways, because with the media, there's more to learn about this type of stuff. 50, 60 years ago, it would have been harder for you to even listen to me. I would have had to be on TV or radio or something that a lot of people already listen to. You know what I'm saying? It's a little bit more individualistic now. There's pros and cons to it. I mean, the thing too that I think is a con to it is, TikTok is probably the worst for this. Like, you scroll through that and there's just, everybody has a platform there. Somebody who has no idea. Even Twitter too, to a certain extent now, that it's more like that pro-freedom stuff without, I'm not saying censorship is good or anything, but there's a lot of nonsense. Let's be real. There's a lot of nonsense on all these, and anyone, could just post anything they want. There's people just complaining nonstop. There's all that stuff. I mean, I think too with social media, like it's that like, and I think it's more, the European American kind of mindset, Western Europe American mindset, where it's like they get so hooked on it and they're just doing anything to, they're doing anything to get attention. And I was watching one of them, and it was like, I watched some of the travel ones, kind of the people who like, expat ones, people that live in Thailand or wherever, and like one of them, the guy, like he posts so much, and it's just all drama and stuff, and it's like that addiction to drama kind of, which I think, kind of like that, the Kardashians, like that kind of mindset. Ugh. I mean, if the people that do that, like, I mean, I don't really think less of them. It's just not my thing, It's just not, it's just all the, the drama, I think the real thing you got to realize is life's too short too, it's kind of those people that are all about that drama. They're going to realize, geez, I wasted all this time on it. I could be wrong, but I mean, there's somebody like, I wasted all this time on this nonsense that kind of really didn't mean much. I mean, a lot of when you listen to podcasts, you listen to successful people talk, a lot of them say that, what would you have told your 20-year-old self? What would you have told your 30-year-old self? These things, and the most common answer I've always heard is like, just take a deep breath. It's going to be all right. And even if it's not going to be all right, you can't really do anything about it a lot. Panicking over it ain't going to help you probably. So that's the, important thing we got to kind of realize here. That's the important thing we kind of got to realize here. Try to avoid all the drama, all that stuff. But the drama, that's what gets the clicks a lot of times. That's what, but trust me, I mean, there's the biggest, there's those big people that are all about drama that did it that way. But there's also big people that did it without drama. That did it, very genuinely, and that's why that's kind of what separated them, because not everybody wants the drama. A lot of people do want the drama, but not everybody wants the drama. If you do drama, I'm not saying it's bad, but I guess our definitions of it are kind of different sometimes. But I mean, for a lot of people who don't even create content, I don't know if this is gonna even resonate, with them. But if you consume content, you probably kind of know what I'm talking about to a certain extent. I mean, the other thing too that I've kind of realized is, most people are not that mindful at all, even here, even anywhere in the world for the most part. I mean, most people are not meditating. Most people are not doing mindfulness things. They're not that spiritual. That's what you got to realize. So it's easier to stand out than you think. It's definitely easier to stand out than you think. I mean, Tim Ferriss, from his study on like successful entrepreneurs, I think, or CEOs or whatever, 80% of them had some like morning mindfulness type thing. Ray Dalio really credits that transcendental meditation twice a day for 20 minutes for most of its success. I mean, that means something. That definitely means something. And I mean, I'm not telling you it's all going to be, incredible, amazing, impeccable once you learn that. But I think that can make more changes without it being that hard than many would think. Easier said than done, obviously. Easier said than done. I mean, I'm not even perfect on these things. It's one of those things where you do it a bit and you get some benefits and you don't think you need it anymore, and then you stop. And then the benefits go away. That's what happens a lot. So I think that's kind of the important part. But think of things in terms of energy. Always, kind of that path, what you expect to receive. Expect for things to generally go well. I know, Alan Watts has talked about how this was interesting. When you leave, when you pass, when you die, everything around you dies as well, which is really interesting. That's like that kind of law of attraction. I don't know if that's right, but have a little bit more without the way of the drama I was talking about earlier with the giant ego and all the nonsense. Have a little bit more, self-belief there. And that's different from arrogance, that's different from ego, that's different from a lot of things, but it's important to realize here. Anyway, I think I'm going to let you guys off with that. I mean, a lot of really great park, really nice place, really good place to enjoy probably the last 20 to 30 minutes of daylight here. Special like button if you guys enjoyed the content. I'll see you guys soon. Goodbye.